The peculiar flyer caught my eye as I strolled down an empty street. Seeking house watcher, handsome rewards for nights of service. Inquire at 14, Hollow Street. Intrigued and enticed by the promise of generous compensation, I made my way to 14, Hollow Street. The mansion's decaying exterior loomed before me, an eerie presence in the moonlight. Steeling myself against a growing sense of dread, I knocked on the ominous door. The door creaked open, revealing a tall, enigmatic figure, their face obscured by shadows. "You've come for the job," they said in a whisper that sent shivers down my spine. I nodded, my heart pounding. They handed me a parchment, the words written in an ancient script. It outlined my task: 3 nights of vigilant house watching, from dusk till dawn, and a substantial reward upon completion. Curiosity compelled me to ask about the house's history. The figure's eyes narrowed, a sinister glint within them. "Ask not for things beyond your realm of comprehension," they warned. "Remember these rules: never venture into the basement, and do not unlock the forbidden chamber on the 2nd floor." Intrigued and unnerved, I agreed to abide by the cryptic rules. The mystery of the job consumed my thoughts, and I eagerly awaited the first night. The first night arrived, and I entered the silent house. An eerie aura surrounded me, and I felt the weight of unseen eyes upon me. As the hours passed, the house seemed to come alive with faint whispers and elusive shadows. Attempting to dismiss my unease, I attributed the sounds to the old house's groans and creaks. But as the darkness deepened, the whispers grew louder, their words incomprehensible and chilling to the core. On the 2nd night, I glimpsed a shadowy figure from the corner of my eye, standing across the street. It seemed to observe the house with an unsettling intensity. I thought it to be a passerby and paid no mind. Yet, as the night wore on, the figure remained motionless, its watchful gaze unwavering. A sense of foreboding washed over me, and I began to wonder who or what watched me as I watched the house. The watcher's presence haunted my thoughts throughout the 3rd night. It felt as though a sinister connection bound us together. I could feel its scrutiny upon me, an unnatural bond that defied reason. Driven by equal parts curiosity and dread, I ventured outside to confront the watcher. But as I approached, it vanished without a trace, leaving me bewildered and anxious. Haunted by the watcher's enigmatic disappearance, I found myself fixated on the locked door on the 2nd floor. A dreadful curiosity took hold, urging me to uncover the secrets hidden beyond. Ignoring the warnings, I fumbled with the lock and entered the room. An icy chill enveloped me, and the air seemed to thicken with an otherworldly presence. Inside the room, I discovered an ancient mirror, its frame adorned with macabre engravings. As I peered into its depths, my reflection distorted, revealing a malevolent version of myself. Panic seized my heart, and I stumbled back in terror. But the door slammed shut, trapping me inside. The mirror's wicked grin seemed to taunt me, while an unseen force urged me closer. Desperate to escape the mirror's grasp, my mind fixated on the basement. Perhaps it held answers or a way to sever the house's grip on my sanity. Descending the creaking stairs, I found myself in an ancient crypt, its walls lined with arcane symbols. With each step into the unknown, I realized I had stumbled into something far beyond comprehension. In the depths of the basement, an unearthly presence enveloped me. I felt countless eyes upon me, unseen entities lurking in the shadows. Whispers, both haunting and enticing, echoed through the air. From the darkness emerged a malevolent force, feeding off fear and despair. Its chilling touch sent shivers down my spine, and I knew I was not alone in the crypt. Fleeing the basement's clutches, I ascended the stairs, only to find the Watcher standing at the top. Their hollow eyes bore into my soul, a sinister grin stretching across their face. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The Watcher's malevolence seemed to probe my mind, revealing my deepest fears and regrets. The Watcher's influence extended beyond the confines of the house. Everywhere I went, their presence loomed, a never-ending nightmare that clung to my every waking moment. Time lost all meaning, and I could no longer distinguish reality from the Watcher's haunting visions. My sanity began to crumble, leaving me stranded in a nightmarish abyss. In a twisted revelation, I realized the Watcher was not merely an entity haunting the house. It was a reflection of my own darkness, a manifestation of my deepest fears and regrets. Bound to the Watcher's malevolence, I became an eternal observer, forever condemned to watch the house while someone or something watched me from the shadows. To those who come across the enigmatic flyer for a house watcher at 14 Hollow Street, heed my warning. Do not seek easy rewards in exchange for your sanity. The Watcher is ever present, lurking in the shadows, waiting to claim its next victim. Once you step foot into 14 Hollow Street, there is no escape. The Watcher will find you, and you will be trapped in its malevolent grasp for eternity. I pray that you do not make the same mistake I did. Run, while you still can. As for me, I remain trapped within the cursed walls of 14 Hollow Street. My sanity long lost, I now stand alongside the Watcher, an eternal observer condemned to haunt the house. If you hear whispers in the darkness or catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure watching you from afar, know that the Watcher is always there, and it may already be too late. The mansion's malevolence seeped into every fiber of my being, the house becoming an extension of my torment. Each step I took echoed with dread, and the walls seemed to whisper in a language I could not comprehend. In the darkest corners, shadows danced, taking form and shape. They whispered vile secrets and beckoned me to join their spectral dance. Fear and fascination battled within me, as I questioned whether I could escape this nightmare or if I was destined to become a prisoner of the house forever. Desperation drove me to delve into the house's history. Among dusty books and ancient scrolls, I uncovered tales of forbidden rituals and malevolent spirits. The mansion had been a site of dark experiments, and the Watcher was but one of the many entities trapped within its walls. With each revelation, my fear intensified, and I realized the house had chosen me for a sinister purpose. It sought a conduit, a vessel through which it could manifest its malevolence into the world beyond. In the depths of despair, I stumbled upon an old contract, one similar to the one I had signed. I deciphered its archaic language, revealing a haunting truth. The house had forged a pact with malevolent entities eons ago, exchanging souls for power and secrets. My heart sank as I realized the true nature of my employer. The figure that hired me was merely a vessel for the house's ancient malevolence, luring unsuspecting souls into its grasp, to fulfill the cursed pact once more. As the nights grew longer, the house's influence over me intensified. My dreams were plagued with visions of malevolent shadows and grotesque apparitions. Sanity eluded me, and I knew that the only way to break free from the house's grasp was to confront the Watcher directly. Summoning all the courage I had left, I ascended to the rooftop, where the Watcher's sinister presence was strongest. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the desolate streets. At the rooftop's edge, I called out to the Watcher, defying the house's malevolence. A gust of wind howled in response, carrying the voices of tormented souls. The Watcher appeared before me, its form ever shifting and ethereal. "You seek freedom," it hissed, a cacophony of voices echoing its words. "Then offer yourself to the house. Become its eternal guardian, and the torment shall cease." Desperation gnawed at my soul, and for a fleeting moment, I considered the Watcher's offer. But deep within, a glimmer of resistance remained. I refused to let the malevolence consume me, to be a puppet in the house's cruel game. With newfound determination, I resisted the Watcher's allure. It shrieked in rage, its form contorting in fury. The ground quaked beneath me, and the house itself seemed to rebel against my defiance. In a final act of defiance, I uttered forbidden incantations, wielding the ancient knowledge I had unearthed. The house trembled, as if sensing its imminent demise. The Watcher's form flickered, weakening with every passing moment. As the incantations reached their crescendo, the mansion began to collapse upon itself, like a dying behemoth imploding from within. The malevolent shadows dissipated, and the Watcher's anguished wails echoed through the crumbling walls. With the house's destruction, the curse that bound me to its malevolence shattered. I staggered through the debris, my mind liberated from the nightmare. The Watcher's presence had vanished, leaving behind only a lingering echo of its malevolence. I emerged into the daylight, a free soul once more, but forever haunted by the horrors I had witnessed. The mansion at 14 Hollow Street was gone, its dark secrets buried beneath the rubble. To those who chance upon the enigmatic flyer for a house watcher at 14 Hollow Street, be forewarned. The house is no mere dwelling, it is a malevolent entity that feeds on fear and despair. The house seeks souls to satiate its dark hunger, and once entangled in its web, escape is a distant hope. If you dare to venture into its depths, you risk becoming an eternal prisoner of its nightmare. As for me, I am haunted by the horrors of 14 Hollow Street. The scars on my mind remain, a constant reminder of the malevolence I encountered. I warn you, dear reader, beware the allure of easy rewards, for some doors are better left unopened, and some houses are best left unwatched. The darkness lurks in the shadows, and once you step into its embrace, escape is but a distant dream. On an ominous night, a haunting voice beckoned from the depths of the sewer, its cadence like a spectral symphony. My comrades and I stood before the yawning chasm, spellbound by the seductive promises it whispered into our minds. Intrigued and beguiled by the voice's enigmatic allure, we exchanged apprehensive glances. The sewer's inky abyss seemed to entice us, a malevolent invitation to discover the forbidden secrets hidden within. Consumed by a thirst for untold power, we hesitantly responded to the voice's call. It echoed through the darkness, growing stronger with each uttered word. The entity offered us the keys to the universe: wealth, influence, and knowledge beyond mortal comprehension. All it asked for in return was an irrevocable pact, sealed in our own lifeblood. The gravity of our decision hung heavy in the air, but the allure of ultimate power proved too intoxicating to resist. With trembling hands, we pricked our fingers and let our blood intertwine in a sinister union. As our life force mingled on the sewer's floor, an electric surge of malevolence filled the air. The shadows writhed like living entities, and an unseen force coiled around us, tightening its grip. The newfound power surged through our veins, euphoria mingling with terror. We felt invincible, drunk on the forbidden gifts that now coursed within us.
In the days that followed, the price of our forbidden accord began to reveal itself. Our once inseparable bond as friends withered, replaced by a ruthless hunger for dominion over one another. Each of us craved to be the most powerful, to possess an edge over the others, to climb the ladder of supremacy. As our friendships crumbled, paranoia and mistrust infected our minds. The entity's promises had ensnared us, and we were now prisoners of our own desires. Haunted by the choice we had made, we spiraled into darkness. The malevolent voice's influence permeated every facet of our lives, turning camaraderie into rivalry and friendship into obsession. Sleep evaded us as night after night, the haunting voice whispered relentless promises and threats. Our minds became playgrounds for torment, and the boundary between reality and illusion blurred. The entity reveled in our torment, toying with us like puppets on strings. It orchestrated a macabre game of psychological warfare, pitting us against one another in a nightmarish battle for supremacy. Each of us began to experience vivid and horrifying visions, tormenting our minds with our darkest fears and traumas. The entity fed off our despair, growing stronger with each passing moment. As our rivalry intensified, so did the malevolence within us. Sanity slipped through our fingers like grains of sand, and an insatiable hunger for more power consumed us. The lines between friend and foe blurred, and paranoia cast its shadow over every interaction. We became prisoners in our own minds, haunted by the entity's cruel machinations. Amid the chaos and disarray, a dreadful realization dawned upon us. The entity had never intended to bestow power upon us. Instead, it sought to siphon our souls, to feed off our suffering and anguish. Bitterness and rage boiled within us, directed not only at the entity but also at each other for falling prey to its deceitful promises. Determined to break free from the entity's grasp, we gathered at the very sewer where it had ensnared us. As we stood shoulder to shoulder, a resolute determination replaced the trepidation in our eyes. With one voice, we confronted the malevolent entity, denouncing its maleficent hold over us. The sewer's air crackled with tension, the entity's anger palpable. The entity's voice thundered through the tunnels, its fury unleashed upon us. The ground trembled beneath our feet, and the very walls seemed to close in. Undeterred, we stood our ground, defiant in the face of the malevolence that had ensnared us. As the entity's wrath intensified, it demanded a sacrifice to quell its hunger. It craved the lifeblood that had sealed our pact, the very essence of our existence. With a heavy heart, we made a harrowing choice. One among us stepped forward, offering their life as a final act of defiance against the entity's malevolence. In a maelstrom of chaos, the sacrifice's life force coursed through the entity. The once powerful voice faltered, its malevolence waning. Empowered by our unity in the sacrifice made, we banished the entity back to the darkness from whence it came. The sewer fell into an eerie stillness, the haunting voice silenced once and for all. Though the entity had been vanquished, its legacy lingered. We returned to our lives, forever changed by the horrors we had endured. The friendships we had once cherished lay broken, and the scars of our ordeal ran deep. We had danced with malevolence and paid dearly for our hubris. In the aftermath of our ordeal, the haunting voice still echoed within us, a constant reminder of the consequences of our greed and desire for power. Haunted by the memories of the sewer's malevolent whispers, we vowed to never forget the price we had paid for meddling with the forbidden. To those who may stumble upon an enigmatic voice calling from the sewer's depths, heed our cautionary tale. The promise of power and knowledge is a treacherous lure, and the entity that whispers in the darkness seeks not to grant your desires but to devour your soul. Resist its temptation, for the price of such power is a burden too heavy to bear. We are but a cautionary tale, scarred by our encounter with the malevolence that lurks in the shadows. As for us, the scars of our harrowing encounter serve as a grim reminder of the price of forbidden desires. The sewer's malevolent voice has been silenced, but its echo will haunt our souls until the end of days. In our reckless pursuit of power, we lost not only our friendships but also a part of ourselves. If you should ever hear a haunting voice whispering from the depths, remember our tale, and turn away. For once you make a deal with the malevolence that lurks in the sewer, escape becomes an unattainable dream, and your very soul becomes forfeit to the darkness.